Welcome to the Tower Project, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Divine Right of Kings tournament. We are here in the first round of the first match, with Charles I playing as Venice, charging out with some Stratiots against Spain, and his ally, A38Madjack, playing as Scotland. And they are defending this Middle Eastern castle against three attackers. The team Guard 189 in the tournament. We've got Suspicious playing as Denmark, bringing the 3rd Artillery with Denmark's special power in the tournament. And we've got Apollo 44 playing as Spain here, and he's dealing with these Stratiots out. He's got a nice Basilisk set up to take out the castle. And way on the other side, we've got Emperor Tyrannus playing as Portugal with a very similar setup. Basilisk set out with a nice little siege tower fort here. And of course, the defending team, Black Death, like we said, helmed by Madjack as Scotland, and Charles I as Venice. So let's go take a look at this Stratiot charge as soon as we get done with the falling wall here. So you got a nice little charge off on some of these Pavis crossbowmen, dropping them down to about half strength, taking out a couple of the artillery crew here. Stratiots circling back, looking for another charge, and here it comes. He's got the general's bodyguard distracted. Here comes the charge on the Basilisk. And it looks like he's going to get a good number of the crew here, but he's not quite going to get all of them. Gets him down to 7. And then he's going to pull out of there wisely. Stratiots getting a nice charge into the side of the general's bodyguard here. The other unit probably going to circle back around for another charge. Here they go. Charging right into the general's bodyguard there, and that is going to cause some casualties. Bodyguard unit dropping quickly, but some feudal knights coming to support Stratiots, now running back to the castle. The mortars over here taking out some of the Danish siege towers. Another wall going down. We're going to have plenty of these wall cutscenes. And here's the large Denmark artillery line. 2 cannons with the Serpentine up front there. Denmark is allowed to bring an extra artillery unit in the tournament just to give players some incentive to bring them. Same with Scotland, so we do have 3 mortars on the field. And plenty of noble pikemen. And we've got 1 bodyguard sent out here from Scotland. It looks like the Stratiot rush against Spain is still going strong. Here comes another charge onto that general's bodyguard. He's going for the general. And he gets a really good charge there, taking out a bunch of that bodyguard. They drop from 12 all the way down to 7 there. 6 and 5. Now they're all the way down to 3 men now. This Stratiot, they got routed though. They could have come in there and finished off that general. So the Spanish general almost goes down to the Stratiot charge there. Incredible play by Charles I as Venice, using that cavalry beautifully. Madjack circling around with his general's bodyguard. I'm sure they're licking their teeth to get after this advanced Danish artillery guard here. Serpentine trying to fire over the walls and into the town center. Oop, let's get it on double speed here during the bombardment phase just to help things go a little bit quicker. And now all the cavalry is going to come over towards Denmark. And like I said, this is the first round of the Divine Right of Kings tournament. So this is the first game we have to analyze. It's definitely a good game. Very close coming out here at the start. We've got 2% to 2%, so even casualty distribution off of that charge. So Apollo 44 doing a good job as Spain mitigating the damage from that cavalry charge, except his general's bodyguard did take a little bit more of a punishment than probably he wanted them to. So you've got some crossbowmen getting out there to screen out that cavalry. And this is something you don't see too often. We've got Norse war clerics on the field today. Very awesome looking unit. They're just not all that great in combat. They lose in melee to a lot of other knights, mainly because of their charge bonus, and they don't have that amazing melee stats. But they are really, really cool looking unit. I just wish they were a little bit better because they're. I would have liked for them to kind of be the Danish version of the Crusading Knights, like other factions that have the Templar and Hospitaller Knights. I would have liked for these guys to have been very, very good in melee, like maybe the best melee cavalry out there. That's what I would have liked to have seen these Norse war clerics be, because they don't have a good charge bonus. But if they would have been, kind of the melee kings of cavalry, then that would have made them a lot more useful in the game. But they're just not that much better than regular cavalry to justify bringing them when they lose that incredibly powerful component of cavalry where they don't get those charges. Because with cavalry in Medieval 2, those charges are absolutely devastating, as you guys well know. And the walls keep a-crumbling down here on this Middle Eastern castle. We're going to have plenty of wall cut scenes. Keep having to put it back onto double speed after the walls crumble. We've got some Venetian archers coming up here, and it looks like some muskets sent up from Charles I here just to get some pod shots, probably off on the Serpentine crew here, is what I'd imagine happening. I'm interested to see if Denmark can use that Serpentine well to get good crossfire into the city. But everything pretty much very quiet over here on the Portuguese front. Maybe a couple mortar rounds going off. It does look like we got one small hit here. Don't see any other hits on this infantry. And we did lose one siege tower. No basilisk taken out. And he's already made, it looks like, 4 holes with that basilisk. So they got to be down a good portion of their artillery here. We've got some combat music going on. Let's go check out where it's happening. Looks like we've got a cavalry sally by Madjack here in Scotland. He's going to take out that Serpentine crew. He gets him down to 5, but his general's bodyguard takes a lot of crossbow fire. They're getting shot, and there they go. They break. So the general's bodyguard from Madjack breaks. He got the Serpentine crew down to 5, but I bet, yep, there they go. The Serpentine crew has come back, but so will this general's bodyguard once they get back inside the castle too. So, maybe a little bit of an even trade-off. I'd say it probably favored Denmark, though, because the Serpentine is still operational. Although he did lose 1, he doesn't have enough crew to crew. And this one must have got hit by a mortar or something right there. So, they're all the way down to 3 now from those Venetian archers. So maybe that was a good trade for Madjack and Carolus Rex there. There it goes. The Serpentine is now offline. Once you get down to 2 people, there they go. Oh, they all die right there. So Serpentine is out of the game. But Denmark still has his 2 cannons. The Serpentine was what he brought for his extra power. And this is a very, very good move by Denmark here. Moving his army over, splitting it up into 2 sections. It is a little risky because he doesn't have the protection of his siege equipment. But it's going to allow him to hit these different flanks. And we've got more battle music. That general's bodyguard coming back out from Madjack. Going to try to get some nice cav moves here. Let's see what they can do. The Danish general nipping at their heels. They go for a feint charge on the cannon, and they're going to try to get a charge on the crossbowmen, but they don't get the charge animation. And now they're going to get surrounded and cut down. A couple of them going to get out of there from the crossbowmen. They're wavering. Are they going to make it out? Or are they going to get routed again? Looks like he's going to circle around for some more charges. He's got a perfect target there on the crossbowman. But he's not going, or is he? Oh, he hesitates. He gets shot. And there it goes. The bodyguard is cut down. And we've got another crumbling wall. And there's only 2 generals bodyguard, and they're going to run back into the castle at this point. Spain now doing the same thing, moving his army over to this side. So basically, they're probably going to jointly attack kind of this corner area here. Portugal, very, very light defense over here on Portugal's side. It looks like there's only 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 or 9 units in total defending against Portugal. And then they've got this back line here. The issue is these noble Highland archers don't have long range. So I don't know that they're going to be able to fire far enough to overwatch with these gaps, whereas Pavis crossbowmen or something would definitely be able to from that distance. So I'm not sure how effective that line's going to be. But we do have this large mortar battery from Scotland set up here, and they're definitely going to do some damage. Stratiates continuing to mirror the Danish advance over here. I think we're going to go ahead and 6x speed it just for a little bit until we get some action coming out here. We already have one destroyed wall on this side. I wonder if they're going to try to destroy any more walls on the back side of this castle, because that would spread out the defenders even more, because then they'd have to defend basically the entire 360 section of this castle, which would be very, very different. Very, very difficult for the defenders to do. So brilliant strategy by the attackers there, spreading the defenders out to force them to defend every part of that castle. And there's the Stratiates coming behind the Danish forces there. Everything's still quiet on the other two sides. If you're following my mouse here up on the mini-map, everything's still quiet over there. As we just watch this Danish side, it does look like the defenders are preparing something over here on this corner. Hopefully we've almost gotten through the cutscenes of all the destroyed walls. Fear is worse than fighting. As the announcer said there. And then what's this over here? So Portugal, having sent a basilisk with the general's bodyguard, this would be fairly susceptible to a cavalry charge if they could send 2 cavalry units out, because you could send 1 cavalry to block the general and then another one to take out the basilisk, because there's nothing else around here. Looks like he's seeing that and he's going to start moving them back now that he's taken that wall out. So I think he just wanted to help make some quick holes there. Oh, here we go. It looks like we've got some musketeers coming up on the wall here. And we do have some Pavis crossbowmen coming out of the castle. So it looks like he's going to try to get some shots off on this advanced Danish force here. So very aggressive play, both by the defenders and the attackers, neither side being very passive, which is always awesome to see. 2 Pavis crossbowmen coming out. And it looks like we've got a mortar by Charles getting ready to set up here. Noble pikemen coming out by Madjack to support. Let's go ahead and slow things down. Looks like we've got some Stratiate play coming in. This one group of Stratiates down to 8. They got a nice little charge off on these feudal knights. And the Norse war clerics protecting the cannon, although at this point the damage with the artillery is mostly done, so there's no point really going after the cannons if it's going to cost a lot. There's no point to suicide your cavalry to get the cannons at this point. The damage is already done to the walls. Although the Pavis crossbowmen not quite moved up enough to be in range, and Denmark has moved his forces back pretty significantly. I don't even think they're in mortar range. No, they're not. Oop, we just want double speed here. Don't want to miss any action with you guys. Now here they're starting to move up some of those Pavis crossbowmen, but they're going to have to move up a long ways to get into range there. I think he's just going to get them on the hilltop. Oh no, they're coming down. They're summoning. They're desummoning actually. Summoning is going up to the top of the hill. They'd be desummoning, going down from the summit of the hill. I think we're going to see some muskets coming out here too. Muskets are still up here, but I believe he's going to eventually send the muskets out to provide some overwatch fire from the hill. Let's go check out what's going on over here on the Spanish front. So Denmark has merged his troops with Spain, so they've kind of joined up here to attack. Looks like this corner section, which I would say is actually a mistake. He should have kept part of his army over here to force the defenders to protect this section of the wall. Because now what I would do is I would have a very light defense over on this side, and I would move the majority of my defense to protect these 3 gaps, because they don't have any troops over here. And then I could send my troops back over here as needed. And I'm going to go ahead and tell, we got Bismarck messaging me here. Hey, welcome to the video, Bismarck. I'm just going to go ahead and mention him. Say, yeah, I'm recording. You're live. Want to say anything? That's what you get if you message me while I'm recording. You're going to get put on air. Just make sure it's appropriate. He said, Iowa. Not a very good first sentence there, Bismarck. You don't want to do better than that. Do we have that? Do we have any action kicking off here? Yes, we do. We've got a very advanced force. They've come all the way down from the hill to get the crossbowmen in range here. Our game tonight, right? Normally, yep. We are playing as planned. This will be fun for everyone watching on YouTube to watch me messaging people in Steam. So let's see how this advanced sally goes out here.
Steel and valiant hearts must be our fortress now.
And we still have walls coming down. Norse war clerics trying to chase the Stratiots. Bismarck's first language is not English, so if you're wondering what's going on with the text, that's kind of what's going on. Although I don't think I'm playing. My round tonight is against the papacy, is against Trump's team. I don't think Bismarck is on Trump's team, so it's a different team that Bismarck is playing. So I don't know why he's messaging me about that. Maybe he's checking to make sure. And sorry about the Rumelia again. Oh, it wasn't C. Okay, no worries, man. This will be really fun for everyone to watch on YouTube. So you're famous, man, for all the 45 or so subscribers that we've got. Maybe with the tournament we'll get some more. We'll see how that goes. Now, we should be getting some Overwatch fire from the muskets here. And it does look like they're reloading. Are they going to... Yeah, here we go. We're going to get some Overwatch fire from the muskets. Here they go. That is beautiful if I've ever seen anything. Although it looks like he was targeting the Norse war clerics, and he routs them with that musket fire. Excellent work there by those muskets from Rex there. And do we still have that Scottish cavalry from Madjack protecting? We don't. And here's a general's bodyguard that is loose by Emperor of Tyrannus. And I bet I know what they're going to do. Here it comes. Right into those feudal knights. They're going to try to countercharge. Oh, man. That gets them all the way down to 33 men with that one charge. And now they're having to frantically try to retreat all their crossbows. But here comes the general's bodyguard into the muskets. Ooh, and that is going to be painful. Oh, geez. Those muskets just got ripped to shreds by that cavalry all the way down to 23 men. And the Danish feudal knights are still chasing down the Pavis crossbowmen, cutting down the ones that can't run very fast. So excellent play and excellent teamwork by the attackers here, shutting down that defensive sally very effectively. And the last of the Stratiots putting up a stand here against the cavalry. We even have some Venetian heavy infantry out. A few of the Danish feudal knights holding off, the Venetian feudal knights holding off a bunch of the Danish feudal knights. And here comes some more Venetian troops to support. And a nice cavalry charge into the back of the Venetian heavy infantry, dropping them down to about 35, 36 men. And they're going to disengage from this, which is a bad idea. And I think these Venetian heavy infantry are going to get routed here. So probably not worth it on that sally. These crossbowmen should get back inside the walls here and start returning fire from atop the walls. But I can understand the micro is going to be very stressed at this point. And it looks like we have Spain moving up to begin his assault, which is excellent timing by the attackers. You always want to make sure you move up to do the assault while you have the defenders distracted elsewhere. I probably would have moved up a little bit as the sally was going forward and had my siege towers in place. And then I would have ran right in while their micro was being stressed over here, and they probably could have gotten a big jump on the defenders before they noticed that they were coming in. And here comes the Danish army getting in. In fact, the Danes already had troops in over here. I didn't even see that. And I've watched this battle before. So great work there by Suspicious. The Danish army being very, very tricksy and sneaky. And a bunch of Danish troops coming in from the side there. It looks like Spain is going to come right in with some Almugifers. We're going to see how well these guys do. And Spain does start sending some troops over on this side, which is a good move. Because now he's forcing Scotland to defend this whole section of the wall with essentially two sections of troops. Now, one thing that Spain should be doing immediately is getting these Pavis crossbowmen up on the walls to fire down at these troops, because the defenders have made a huge blunder here, but unfortunately the attackers are not going to be taking full advantage of it because they're keeping their crossbowmen outside of the walls when they should be getting up on the walls to fire down at the troops. And so now the conquistadors are fighting against some broken lances. That's definitely going to be a one-sided attack, but a huge charge from the Danish general's bodyguard there, wrecking this broken lance unit. However, this Venetian heavy infantry is going to rip these chivalric knights a new one. Venetian heavy infantry over here as well, putting up a stand. Looks like they cut through a lot of Danish crossbowmen, apparently. Came in melee. I don't know why that was happening. Again, the Danish crossbowmen could have been sent up via ladder to get on any of these walls and fire down on these troops, which would have been devastating to the defense. Portugal essentially surrounding these Scottish noble swordsmen, but the noble swordsmen putting up a good fight, it looks like, against these Portuguese knights. And the mortars are starting to come in, but the Venetians are routing, and Portugal has essentially captured the wall at this point. He can rush this back line, but here Scotland with Madjack is going to use a feudal knight and a pikeman double layer strategy, which is a good use of the pike tactics that we discussed in our pikes video here on the channel. And he does use that very effectively. We missed it over here, but these pikemen and these feudal knights routed that Spanish flanking force here, which was very good. And now they can come and hit this unit in the back. And these feudal knights are absolutely destroying the Spanish feudal knights. I mean, look at this. 39 to 28, and they've just been going head-to-head. So I wonder if Madjack has weapon upgrades on his sword. It does look like he's got a weapon upgrade, so maybe that's what's giving them the upper hand there in that fight.
To arms, my lord. The enemy are through the gate.
Mortars going off all over the place. And it looks like the Venetian archers getting caught up here on the walls, and they are breaking, and they're going to get cut down to a man by those feudal knights. But Venice getting some troops out. Hopefully they're going to be able to escape back here, and Charles is going to be able to escape back to the center there. So at this point, the defenders are actually still winning percentages-wise, which is surprising to me. 35 to 37. Those mortars probably doing some good work in these Venetian heavy infantry, cutting him down, and they did get some good units over here against the crossbowmen, but now these Venetian heavy infantry are getting double-teamed by conquistadors and chivalric knights, so it's going to be very hard for them to be utilized to their full effect when they're outnumbered like that. And again, this is where Portugal needs to be getting his crossbowmen up on the wall to shoot down at those defenders, and to be able to shoot down, frankly, at these... I mean, imagine getting some Pavis crossbowmen up on the gate here. They could absolutely shred this formation by Madjack, but they are not taking advantage of those walls with their Pavis crossbowmen. So if I had to give one critique of the attackers, both teams playing very well so far, but they really should be getting some crossbowmen up on the walls, because the defenders are still being able to utilize their missile units very effectively. These Venetian archers firing down, they're not going to be doing a ton of damage because they don't have armor-piercing missiles. So they're not going to be destroying these conquistadors. But they will do some damage over time. But now Spain's going to be able to come through and come up and kill these Venetian archers. He's going to be able to break through into these feudal knights. So essentially the front wall is being lost on almost every flank. But the Danish forces, it looks like they've kind of blumped up into here. This is where I would have that mortar firing down. Looks like they had some handgunners. No, those were Danish handgunners that got routed there. We've got musketeers up here, but they're not going to be able to get any good angles there. And so the Danish forces here getting repelled pretty effectively. Again, some ladders. If he had brought some ladders over, he could have gotten some crossbowmen up on these walls and been shooting down, or at least he could have occupied more of the defending forces. But they're giving the defenders the edge by not utilizing their missile troops at all. Even these Pavis crossbowmen, he's letting just get cut down by those feudal knights when they could have been through this gap here, shooting these feudal knights in the back the whole time, but they haven't been doing that. And now we've got that last Venetian Stratiot taking down a bunch of these crossbowmen. He's killed like 5 of them at this, 6. And we've got some broken lances now coming to finish the job. And again, these Venetian archers getting caught on the wall by these conquistadors. And they are going to get hacked apart. Let's get some nice visuals of the last stand of these feudal knights. And they're getting surrounded and stabbed in the back. There's only so much these brave Scottish knights can do. But the mortars should be coming in and shelling this whole thing now. But the back line of the defenders continuing to be compromised. And you can just see the line of dead Spanish troops that Madjack's formation here has caused. And that's why you've got to use your missile troops effectively as an attacker. Again, there should be Pavis crossbowmen all over these walls shooting down at these formations. But they are doing a good job of clearing the wall of attackers. So in that respect, they are doing well. 50 to 51%. So it's still a very close game here, as each of the teams are about halfway destroyed by their by troop number. And it looks like the Danish assault here has been pretty effectively repelled. Some handgunners coming back. I'm wondering why he brought handgunners and not arquebus. And not an arquebusier unit. I know Denmark doesn't have muskets, but I do think they have arquebus. And they would have been a lot more effective than these handgunners. Maybe because they're better in melee? I'm not sure. But he is going to force the defenders out there. And here's another attack by Portugal. We have some noble pikemen here without their pikes down. Probably just the remnants of an already broken unit. And here comes another charge from Spain into this infantry line here, set up by Madjack. The Venetians routing. So now Portugal used to have all those troops over on this side, but it looks like he sent them around to come over to this side of the battle now. And we've got the noble Highland archers bringing out the axes, fighting in melee against swordsmen, militia, and feudal knights over here. And here we've got the conquistadors, but this is a mortar heaven right here. And there are the mortars coming right in on cue. And that is going to start destroying the morale of these units. They're already shaken. A couple good hits on these blobs, and this whole section of Portuguese troops is going to rout. Although Denmark is pouring through over here, he's got a perfect opportunity to get some backfire onto these units. This could be disastrous for the attack, for the defenders, because there is nobody defending this side of the fortress. Looks like we had some more Spanish troops get killed over here. And here's another line of Scotland holding off some Spaniards. Pikemen not quite in pike formation. They've got their pikes up, but only a few of them are stabbing. But the noble swordsmen here certainly going to help out. And again, I wonder why there aren't Pavis crossbowmen here firing out at the defenders. In fact, I wonder where their Pavis crossbowmen are. Here they are back here. In this wall, they can't actually get up here, so I understand why they're not on the walls here. But they could have been sent around and been shooting over here into this defensive formation. But, of course, when you're in the game, it's much more difficult to do all the micro things than looking back at it when you're not, with all the stress of it being a tournament game. So Scottish troops are holding off the Spanish here. And we have Portuguese troops coming to get a flank on these noble swordsmen. The pikemen are reforming up here at the top of this ridge. Nobody has come up to kill these Pavis crossbowmen yet, as I'm sure they've been firing down at all of these units here. And we are almost done with this battle, as you can see. And these pikemen are generating huge amounts of value here. You can see they got their pikes down. They're thrusting. There's mortars coming in. Oh, that is absolutely destructive. So you can see with with utilizing that pike strategy and a little help on the rules, letting Scotland get that extra artillery unit, factions that generally would never have been picked in a tournament situation can actually be competitive choices. And so that's why I gave a couple of factions some small bonuses, so that way people would play factions like Scotland and Denmark as opposed to every game just being Spain, Venice, and Portugal. And it looks like the mortars did their job, and that whole Portuguese force there got routed. And here's all their crossbowmen, again, not really doing anything. There's a couple of Mugaffers back there, too. Man, look at the value that these noble pikemen are generating. Just absolutely tremendous. And I think Madjack's keeping them on defensive mode, which is going to... Oh, and there we have the death of the Danish general. But like I said, Madjack is keeping guard mode on, which is keeping them in position, but it's going to lower the rate of them actually using the thrusting animation. So it's going to dramatically shorten the amount of damage they do over time. But what they are doing over here, they put their pikes down now, except for this side over here, but they are keeping the conquistadors at bay, allowing the noble swordsmen to effectively attack them while they're stunned. So it is working well over here because of the mixture that he has. And he's doing it very well, using them in the streets here, because pikemen will just never keep their pikes down in the gaps. But keeping them in the streets, he's able to maximize the effectiveness of these pikemen. So very good work to Madjack, using Scotland well, and demonstrating how a lot of these factions that, in the current meta of the game have kind of been deemed unplayable, can actually generate quite a bit of value. And so as far as percentage-wise, now we're starting to see a big jump in percentages killed. We've got 64% killed for the Allies defending the fortress, and 74% killed for Team Guard 189. So Black Death starting to pull ahead a little bit in the balance of power. And the Scottish noble pikemen here on the hill being completely unopposed. And there we have the first admit defeat. It looks like that's going to be from Portugal. And we have a second admit defeat. And looks like that's going to be Spain. No, that was Denmark. So Denmark and Portugal both having admitted defeat. And the last player here, Mount Militia Apollo 44, it looks like he's going to send his general in here maybe? Or is he going to admit defeat too? Oh! And the general gets sniped right in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. What a fitting end to this game. And I imagine that Spain is going to be admitting defeat here very soon. And so Team Black Death officially taking the first win of the tournament via admit defeat. And as soon as the game actually ends here, we're going to see final game percentages. This is after casualties healed, 56 to 76. So attackers even still having a good chunk of their troops left. But here they admitted defeat. So, again, Team Black Death coming out with a win on the first game of the tournament. Congratulations to Madjack and to Charles. And we do have Madjack as the player of the game of this match, getting the most kills and the least deaths. So, special congratulations to Madjack and congratulations to Team the Black Death. Hopefully everybody had fun in this game. Looks like everybody did. Sounds like everybody did. And they do still have one more match to do. So they have to play the other way around, where the Black Death is attacking and Guard 189 is defending. So we'll see that soon by the end of the week. And this evening, my team is going to be playing. We're going to be playing against the Papacy, which is Trump's team. And the Red Army, with Russian King and Teutonic Elite, is going to be playing against, I believe, the Valiant Knights. And then there's one game that's happening on Saturday. But all the games, from what it sounds like, should be completed by the end of Saturday. And I'm going to keep uploading these. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to upload every one of them. But I definitely wanted to give you guys the first match. And I'll definitely give you guys the best of the tournament rounds. So I'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned to the Tower Project. We'll keep coming at you with tournament updates. Take care, guys. See you around.